Welcome back to Ancient to Now, the channel where history's mysteries are unraveled and brought into the light of day. Today, we dive deep into a tale shrouded in tragedy, intrigue, and the echoes of a bygone empire, the Lost Princesses of Russia. Join us as we explore the lives, legends, and legacy of the Romanov daughters. If you're fascinated by the stories that shaped our world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to never miss out on our historical adventures. The Romanov Dynasty, established in 1613 with the crowning of Mikhail Romanov, marked the beginning of a new era for Russia, ending a period of political turmoil known as the Time of Troubles. Over the next 300 years, the Romanovs would oversee an empire's expansion, making Russia a major European power. This dynasty, characterized by its autocratic rule, witnessed significant events that shaped not only Russia, but the world, including the expansion of the empire through the conquests of Siberia, the establishment of serfdom, and the Napoleonic Wars. Nicholas II, born in 1868, ascended to the throne in 1894, marrying Alexandra Feodorovna, a granddaughter of Queen Victoria of England. Their union was both a personal bond and a political alliance, reflecting the interconnectedness of Europe's royal families. Together, they had 5 children: Olga, born in 1895, Tatiana, born in 1897, Maria, born in 1899, Anastasia, born in 1901, and Alexei, born in 1904, the long-awaited heir. The Romanovs' rule was marked by significant challenges, including military defeats, economic downturns, and widespread social unrest. The Russo-Japanese War of 1904, 1905, and World War I severely weakened Russia's military and economic standing, exacerbating the already growing discontent among the Russian populace. These defeats highlighted the inefficiencies of the autocratic system and the need for profound reform. Nicholas II's reign saw attempts at modernization and reform, the most notable being the 1905 Revolution, which led to the establishment of the Duma, Russia's first parliament. However, these efforts were often too little, too late, and the autocracy's rigid structure resisted significant changes. The Romanovs' personal lives were also under scrutiny. Alexandra's reliance on the mystic Rasputin to treat Alexei's hemophilia brought scandal and further discredited the royal family. Their perceived aloofness and detachment from the struggles of the Russian people only fueled the revolutionary sentiments brewing across the empire. By the early 20th century, the Romanov dynasty was teetering on the brink of collapse. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 initially rallied the Russian people around the monarchy, but as casualties mounted and economic conditions worsened, discontent reached a boiling point, setting the stage for the 1917 revolutions that would ultimately bring an end to more than 3 centuries of Romanov rule. As the 20th century dawned, the stability of Imperial Russia under the Romanov dynasty was increasingly threatened by both internal and external pressures. The early years of the century were marked by significant social, economic, and political unrest, setting the stage for the eventual downfall of the Romanovs. The Russo-Japanese War of 1904-1905, resulting in a humiliating defeat for Russia, eroded the prestige of the regime and sparked the Revolution of 1905, a wave of mass political and social unrest that spread through vast areas of the empire. The 1905 revolution exposed the deep divisions within Russian society and the significant discontent with the autocratic government. It forced Tsar Nicholas II to issue the October Manifesto, which promised the establishment of a representative assembly, the State Duma, and basic civil liberties. However, the reforms were too limited to satisfy the demands for change, and the Tsar's reluctance to relinquish real power continued to alienate large segments of the population. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 temporarily rallied the Russian people around the monarchy, but the initial nationalistic fervor quickly evaporated as the true cost of the war became apparent. Russia's military failures, coupled with the enormous economic strain and staggering casualties, deepened the despair and anger among Russians. The war exacerbated the existing problems of poverty, inequality, and oppression, pushing the empire closer to the brink of collapse. By 1916, the situation was dire. The economy was in ruins, inflation was rampant, and the Russian army suffered defeat after defeat. The Tsar's decision to take personal command of the military only served to further discredit the monarchy, as he was blamed for the continuing losses on the battlefield. Meanwhile, at home, The Tsarina Alexandra and the mystic Rasputin, whom she had come to rely on, became symbols of the monarchy's corruption and detachment from the realities of the suffering populace. The year 1917 brought the final blow. In March, or February in the Julian calendar, widespread protests and strikes in Petrograd, now St. Petersburg, escalated into the February Revolution, forcing Nicholas II to abdicate the throne, ending over 300 years of Romanov rule. This was soon followed by the October Revolution, which saw the Bolsheviks seize power, leading to the establishment of a communist government and the eventual execution of the Romanov family, marking a definitive end to the imperial era of Russia. The once mighty Romanov Dynasty, which had reigned over Russia for centuries, was swept away by the very forces it had failed to contain, leaving a legacy of upheaval that would shape the course of the 20th century. Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia Romanov, the daughters of the last Tsar of Russia, Nicholas II, and his wife, Tsarina Alexandra, lived lives that were emblematic of the opulence and cultural richness of the final years of Imperial Russia. Born into the highest echelon of Russian society, they were the Grand Duchesses of the Romanov family, each bearing the weight of their royal heritage and the expectations that came with it. Olga Nikolaevna, the eldest, born on November 15, 1895, was known for her intelligence and a sense of responsibility that belied her years. Tatiana Nikolaevna, born on June 10, 1897, possessed a grace and poise that made her the family's natural diplomat. Maria Nikolaevna, born on June 26, 1899, was the family's beauty with a gentle demeanor and a compassionate heart. The youngest, Anastasia Nikolaevna, born on June 18, 1901, was the family's spark, full of vivacity and mischievous energy that brought light into their lives. Despite their royal status, the sisters were far from being mere ornaments of the court. Their upbringing was infused with a strong sense of duty and service, values instilled by their parents. This commitment to service was most evident during World War I, when the Grand Duchesses, along with their mother, trained as nurses. They worked in military hospitals, tending to wounded soldiers, providing medical care, and offering emotional support. This work was not ceremonial. The sisters were directly involved in the grueling and often gruesome task of caring for the injured, showcasing a dedication that transcended their royal obligations. Their involvement in wartime nursing brought them into close contact with the realities of the conflict, a stark contrast to their sheltered upbringing. It also offered the public a glimpse into the character and compassion of the Romanov daughters, endearing them further to the Russian people and soldiers. Despite the chaos unfolding around them, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia remained devoted to their country and its people, embodying the spirit of sacrifice and service. This period of their lives, marked by war and service, was a testament to the sisters' strength and resilience. It highlighted their transition from the secluded life of royalty to active participants in the tumultuous events that would eventually lead to the end of the Romanov dynasty. Their roles as nurses during World War I marks a poignant chapter in their short lives, demonstrating that despite their upbringing in unparalleled luxury, the Romanov daughters were deeply connected to the fate of their people, sharing in their struggles and offering solace amid the turmoil. Following Tsar Nicholas II's forced abdication on March 15, 1917, amidst the turmoil of the Russian Revolution, the Romanov family's fate took a dark turn. Initially placed under house arrest at their residence, the Alexander Palace in Tsarskoye Selo, the Romanovs' circumstances quickly deteriorated as the Bolsheviks gained power. In August 1917, the family was moved to Tobolsk, Siberia, supposedly for their protection. This relocation marked the beginning of their captivity, which saw them living in increasingly harsh conditions, far removed from the opulence they were accustomed to. In the spring of 1918, as the Civil War intensified, the Romanovs were moved again, this time to the Ipatiev house in Yekaterinburg, a city in the Ural Mountains. The Ipatiev house, dubbed the House of Special Purpose by the Bolsheviks, became the final residence of the Romanov family. The house was a stark prison, its windows painted over and guarded by Bolshevik soldiers, symbolizing the complete loss of freedom and privacy the family once enjoyed. The Romanovs, including Nicholas, Alexandra, their 5 children, and a few loyal servants who had chosen to accompany them, were subjected to strict surveillance and lived under constant threat. Their daily lives were a far cry from their previous existence, with their activities, correspondence, and even meal times strictly controlled by their captors. Despite these hardships, the family tried to maintain a semblance of normality, attending religious services, reading, and engaging in handicrafts. The conditions of their captivity reflected the broader chaos and brutality of the Russian Civil War. The Bolsheviks, seeking to solidify their grip on power and eliminate any symbols of the old regime, viewed the former Tsar and his family as significant liabilities. The decision to execute the Romanovs was made amidst fears that white forces, loyal to the monarchy, were closing in on Yekaterinburg and might attempt to rescue them. In the early hours of July 17, 1918, the Romanovs' captivity came to a brutal end. The family, along with 4 loyal members of their entourage, were awoken and told to dress under the pretext of being moved to a safer location. Instead, they were led to a small room in the basement of the Ipatiev house, where they were executed by a Bolshevik firing squad. This grim episode effectively marked the end of the Romanov Dynasty, symbolizing the violent upheaval that would continue to shape Russia in the years to come. The execution of the Romanovs was kept secret for some time, with the location of their bodies remaining unknown until the end of the 20th century, adding a layer of mystery and tragedy to their story. In closing, the tale of the Romanov princesses reminds us of the fleeting nature of power and the enduring strength of family bonds in the face of adversity. As we look back on their lives, we're reminded of the importance of remembering those who've shaped our past, not as mere subjects of history, but as individuals with dreams, hopes, and unfulfilled destinies. What are your thoughts on the tragic story of the Romanov sisters? Is there a piece of their tale that resonates with you? Or perhaps a historical mystery you'd like us to explore next? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through time, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to Ancient to Now, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest historical explorations. Until next time, keep seeking the stories behind the history books.